Hey everyone, I hope you're all having a fantastic day so far. So today I want to talk about something that I've been trying this year that has actually given me some interesting results, and that is fasting, okay? Intermittent fasting. Now I want to be very clear here. If you're going to try any sort of fasting, please speak to a medical professional and ensure that it's something that you can safely do if you're going to try it out. Now, for full transparency, I did a water fast, and this is something that I'm going to be referencing from 5 months ago that I tried. And I've got 15 key points, but I'm going to go through them very quickly so they're digestible and easy for you to take on board if you're going to try this yourself or if you've experienced it yourself. Let me know if you've tried fasting before, if this is something you've been interested in, if you try it, all of that kind of stuff there. So the first thing I want to say is that it's not easy. I know people out here are saying, yeah, yeah, I've done fasting for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, no water, nothing, just dry. And I'm just like, damn, your breath must have stank. I'm telling you, because it's just kind of like, it's a lot. It's not easy. And if you're somebody who's been habituated on food, which all of us have been, okay, you're used to chewing and eating and having all this different stuff, and not having food in your system is different. So this fasting exercise I did was for 60 hours and it was a water fast. It did include, I'm going to say green tea, but that green tea didn't have any honey or any sugar or anything like that. It was literally just tea, if anything, if I did go down that route. Okay. And I want to say that I did do a bit of fasting beforehand, over I think like 3 weeks before I got to that point. So I started off with a 16-hour fast, which is not really fasting to me, 18-hour, which is a bit more like fasting to me, then a 24-hour one. Then I tried 36. Then I did another 36. Then I tried 48. And then I tried 60. So I kind of warmed myself up. I didn't know I was going to do a 60-hour fast. I just wanted to see how far I could go. Okay. So the first thing is it's not easy at all. The second thing is keeping yourself busy is really important. Okay. So I kept myself busy through things I needed to do for my business. Obviously, the contract work that I was doing, making sure that I'm speaking to people on the phone or whatever it may be, watching a show. I needed to keep myself busy, even walking if I had to. I didn't want to dispense energy all the time, but keeping myself busy was a big thing. So the third thing was, again, like I said before, water and herbal teas are your friends. I'm telling you, sometimes you may feel like, oh my gosh, I'm dying. This is not working, X, Y, and Z. But when I had some water in my system, I was fine. It's like I stopped complaining, I stopped bitching, and everything was fine. So you need to sort of like make sure that you keep yourself hydrated. Now, of course, as you are using this stuff, it goes through your system, but just bear this in mind. The fourth thing I want to say is that you do get quite sleepy easily. Okay, so you can fall asleep very quickly. And what I recognize is that actually there are certain foods that respond to me when I eat them later on, which stop me from sleeping. So cutting out certain sugars or carbs or whatever it may be helped me sleep better. It's definitely related to the food. So times where I can't sleep is because I've eaten too late, and it's not because it's uncomfortable in my stomach or anything like that. I've still given it enough time. Let's say, for example, 4 hours or whatever it may be. But even if I've eaten at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I've recognized that cutting out food has helped me sleep much better. Maybe it's because I'm not using as much energy, or I don't have enough energy, and so my body just wants to find efficient ways to rest so it sleeps better. Who knows? But I found that I was able to get sleepy easily, and you fall asleep easily as well. The next thing I want to say is accountability is key for this. If you don't have the right level of accountability when you're actually doing some of this stuff, yeah, it's going to be very difficult. And that accountability needs to come through your, maybe it's your partner, your friend, maybe you're posting it in a WhatsApp group, whatever it may be. I remember one time I was doing it with the missus, and she was fasting too, but she was like 24 hours before me. And it was so funny because we had the most efficient argument ever. I think I started talking about food. She was like, "Why are you talking about food? I'm not really sort of like, I don't want to hear anything about food right now." I was like, "Sorry, I'll leave the room." We left it at that. And that was that, people. There was nothing else to it. We had a conversation about it afterwards, and then we just laughed it off. But accountability is key. And I think what I want to sort of like link to that is you become very efficient with what you do. You don't want to waste time. You want to do things that you want to do, and you do it efficiently. So efficiency is another thing as well. Too much talking is annoying, is the next thing I want to say. If somebody's talking too much or whatever it may be, you don't really want to hear it. So if someone's calling you and they're going to be talking your ear off or whatever it may be, don't answer the phone. Just don't do it, because you might just snap. Okay. I'm not saying I snapped, but I found myself getting more irritated if the conversation wasn't flowing a certain way, if it wasn't conducive, whatever it may be. So this is where the efficiency thing comes into play. The other thing I'd say is that it feels like a spiritual journey. And what I mean by that is you feel like you start to recognize things more. You start thinking about people who don't generally eat day to day. Okay. You start thinking about people out there who can't afford certain foods or whatever it may be. You start thinking all these different thoughts. You start thinking about how you're almost controlled to a degree based on what you eat, how you eat, when you eat. And you just realize that food is such an important thing and how grateful you are to get sustenance each day, to get food each day. You recognize this stuff and there's a gratitude for it. And that's why I say it's a spiritual journey. So it's definitely a question of really sort of managing habits. There's a question of being more conscious about what you eat and more aware of what you eat and why you eat it and when you eat it. And it's also some level of habit management and formation that starts to develop. Okay, so that's the next thing. It's a spiritual journey, but I would also say it's a measure of your mindset as well. Mindset being the established set of attitudes that one has in their life. Of course, the most notable thing that I could say about this is that you definitely lose weight. You know, you can lose, well, I know I lost quite a bit of weight. And I don't want to quote anything right now, but I want to say it's between a range of 2 kg to 4 kg. I don't know if that's true or not, but again, if you are going to try this safely, you know, and you've been given the right advice, whatever it may be, it's something for you to check out yourself. Okay. The other thing is a lot of the weight that you lose will typically be during when you sleep. Okay. So when you go to sleep, after you wake up the next day, bam, the weight is gone, it's lost. That's probably you're exhaling it out or whatever it may be when you're snoring. Okay. The other thing is obviously you pee a lot because if you drink a lot of water, it just goes through your system. Okay. Which is what you want. You want to cleanse your system. And the great thing about fasting is that what happens is once you go through different stages, you'll hit a fat burning stage, you'll hit a stage where you start to produce more, well, you start to clean out all the dead cells in your system. I think it's known as autophagy. All of this stuff starts to happen. So it's kind of like a reset, okay? And I think from about 24 hours or 36 hours or whatever it may be, certain things are being reset, okay? You may want to use certain apps like the Life Fasting app. That's a really good app to use. And you can try all this stuff yourself. So there are different stages that you hit where biologically or biochemically things start to happen, okay? You're definitely not hungry when you break your fast. And if you are breaking your fast, okay, it doesn't have to be breakfast, doesn't have to be that. You have to make sure that you break it with protein, okay? Because that ensures that you're not messing up the whole thing that you just did. Break it with protein, whether that's a protein source, a protein meal, whatever it may be, okay? I usually have a vegan chocolate Belgian blend thing that I have, which is really cool. Anyway, so spoke about all of that stuff. The final thing is educating yourself creates the motivation. So I remember watching something on Steve Bartlett's Diary of a CEO, and essentially it was a woman talking about all of this stuff, and it just gave me the motivation to actually do this stuff. So if you're going to try it, yes, there are great benefits. You do lose weight. You do feel richer and more, whatever it may be. It's definitely a great reset, but make sure you do this healthily if you do this. So, did 60-hour fast, 2.5 days. Let me know if you do try it and how you felt. And if you have done it before, comment below. Anyway, if you want to see more videos centered around life management, portfolio careers, and anything centered around stuff I've spoken about before, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.